Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I want to talk about my 10 favorite knives that released in 2021. Now there are a couple of these that are kind of on the line, so I want to explain. 2021 release means the time that people were able to get their hands on the knives, right? Not necessarily when the prototype was made. A couple of these are really close to the line, so if I'm incorrect, please correct me down in the comments section. This is July. Obviously, we're at the end of July, so this list is subject to change at the end of the year when I do the final list. I'm going to be going over some inexpensive stuff, some mid-range stuff, and some expensive stuff. Not everything on this list is available. I don't really do my lists like that. I tell you guys what I think my favorites are based on my own opinion, and that's pretty much that. Also, the other reason I do this in July is so that, if there's something that I'm missing from the list, something that you guys think that I need to check out, then this brings it to my attention. So if there's something that's not on this list that you really think that I should check out that I haven't checked out, please let me know. Absolutely. In fact, there is a list of knives that I am looking for review right now in my community tab. So go check out that wanted for review list in my community tab. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Any of the knives on this list that are currently available, I will link right down in the description as well, so you can check them out. Let's start off with some of the less expensive stuff. The Civivi Imperium. Oh boy, was this a good one. So this is Nitro V. Nice slender design. Still a full-size knife, but it's a front flipper and combination thumb stud opener. This is a budget knife. Very nice. I did the review on this guy and I just absolutely loved it. One of the only things that bothered me, it's the same thing that bothers me with most Civivis, is that gooseneck of a pocket clip down at the end. But everything else about this knife just works really well. And it's funny that Civivi, with their really straightforward and simple, purposeful aesthetic, right? I'm not going to say that, like, oh, it's just boring, right? In some cases, yeah, it's a little bit boring, but it works. And it's funny that they're able to continue to improve and bring out, designs that are actually interesting. I also really like how they did the faux bolster here. They did the texturing. This is just a really, really cool knife. And I found myself liking it a lot more than I thought I would. It works perfectly as a front flipper. So if you've been trying to scratch that sort of fidget factor urge, but you still want to carry something that's purposeful and utilitarian, yeah, the Civivi Imperium is absolutely a fantastic budget knife. I think one of the best budget knives of 2021. Moving on here, another Civivi, and this one was right on the line. The Keen Natter. I'm not really sure exactly how to pronounce that. The only thing that bothered me about this one was a combination of the price and the steel choice, right? N690. Now, had they done this in 14C28N or my personal favorite 154CM, I'd have been over the moon, right? But that's besides the point. This design is a departure. Despite looking similar to other Civivis, it is a departure from what Civivi normally does. This has got a thicker blade stock, a much more interesting grind, and kind of some sleeper fidget factor with the combination thumb stud opener, flipper, and then that little fuller groove right there, which makes it really easy to do the reverse flick. It comes in a wide variety of different flavors. This one is really just excess cool factor, and again, it's kind of like, wow, Civivi is able to do a few different things. I mean, it's still a liner lock, right? It's still a pretty straightforward, just handsome, simple looking liner lock, but it has some interesting details about it. And I was really impressed. I mean, the main thing here is, and I think it's Civivi's continued quality control improvement. Like they're already great, but they keep doing better. And then on top of that, we have a thicker, heavier blade. So it really falls shut in a satisfying way. Not so fast that you're going to guillotine your fingers, but satisfying way. The action, I mean, this is just Civivi showing off right now their maxed out capability in just fit and finish and overall presentation. This is cool. I think it's a little high on the price. Wish it was some N690's okay. I wish it was something different for what they want for it. It's right there kind of on the line for a budget knife, but still I think one of the best of 2021. Moving on here, a knife that I do not have in my possession, but one that I absolutely think is amazing for a 2021 release, and I can't remember when the prototype was. This, I think, is a little bit underrated. It's a little unsung for 2021, and that's the CRKT pilar, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, 3. The 1 and 2 were super duper underwhelming. Everybody just freaked out about the Pilar 1 and the Pilar 2. The number 3 is far and away the best of the bunch. I mean, every last little thing that, you know, reviewers and consumers alike critiqued, right? We all had the same critiques. You don't have to be a YouTuber to pick out the things that were goofballish about the 1 and the 2. They fixed that with the 3. I love the size. I love kind of the calm down ergonomic lines. The blade shape's better. The ease of access to the opening hole, right? It's all better. They didn't do the, you know, they didn't put anything unnecessary on this one. Everything works. Everything makes sense. And they did it for a reasonable price. If I'm remembering correctly, I think this was a $55 knife. G10 and D2. Yeah. This was really, really good. I think it actually deserves a lot more praise. I mean, I'm not saying that it didn't get praise. I'm saying this is way better than people think. If you've been searching for a new budget knife that's not a it's not a Civivi, it's not a CJRB, it's not a QSP, right? Kind of the go-to brands. That CRKT Pilar 3 was amazing. I know I'm mispronouncing that. I'm sorry about that. Moving on here, let's get into some of the more mid-range stuff, or I'm not really going to define mid-range because I didn't have enough knives in each category here in July, right, which is just the midpoint. We're not totally done with this to really kind of, you know, nail this down as far as mid-range and high-end. I got a fixed blade on this list. That is the Doug Ritter. This is the RSK MK3 G2 or Mark III G2. I mess up those codes so often. I think this is correct. KnifeWorks exclusive. This is the only fixed blade on the list. This is basically, I mean, I'm not a fixed blade guy, right? This is not a fixed blade channel, you know, as much as it is a folding knife channel. But as far as what I look for in a fixed blade, this is just perfect. Made in the United States, collaboration between Doug Ritter and Hogue, right? This is essentially the fixed version of the folding RSK MK1 G2. S45VN, which is I think is probably an ideal choice for this size of fixed blade, this geometry of fixed blade. Handle length and texture are almost identical to the folding version, but you have a huge, very purposeful, very utilitarian blade. These are pricey at $190 to $195, but gosh, you know, I mean, it's a little higher than I wanted it to be, but I can't really complain because like I said in the review, this guy I think is priced astronomically well, right? So what I'm comparing it against is a folding knife that probably could sell for much more money. Honestly, I mean, the Ritter Hogue folding knife, I think is just such an incredible deal. It really seems unfair for me to critique the price on this guy, considering we're looking at the same level of fit and finish, absolutely overall quality. This is just a wonderful, wonderful fixed blade, and as of right now, it's absolutely on my best of 2021 list. Again, that is a KnifeWorks exclusive. People wanting to know where to get that, I'll link it down below. Moving on here, let's talk about one of the most underrated knives of 2021, the Artisan Cutlery Aryan. Oh my gosh, guys. Now, Bearded Gear, I believe, has the earliest review of this 8 months ago, and he reviewed the prototype, right? So this may have released it actually, when people were actually able to get their hands on it, it may have been very, very late 2020 or very, very early 2021. I handled the Coral Micarta version in titanium, and I loved it, but I kept getting on Russell. I was like, I really need that full tie one. That looks awesome. This is S35VN titanium. It's a little bit higher than what people expect to say. I think the actual, you know, the retail or the street price, what you go and get them at retailers is reasonable. But this is a Cerberus Knives design, an enormous amount of ergonomic freedom. You can get right up behind that super duper thin edge. Very easy to manipulate. Very, very smooth. The opening hole there works perfectly to do the reverse flick or even the forward flick if you want to. This is a wonderful, wonderful knife, and it's got some really interesting, you can see there, they've actually milled the titanium, just little teeny tiny diagonal lines, which is something that I love. This is a very straightforward and purposeful design, but my goodness, is it handsome. I mean, if you like the Micarta one, then great, you're going to get a little bit better balance because the Micarta is lightweight, right? I like the titanium one because I'm a big fan of the monochromatic look, and I just like full tie. This is so, so good. And people just, a lot of people were like, yeah, it's great. Like, the people who picked it up were like, wow, awesome. And then everyone else was like, okay. Like, it just didn't get a lot of attention. This is really, really good. I love this knife. It was a no-brainer for me. It's not like I squeezed it into the list because I wasn't sure. No, this is one of the first ones that I put on the list. This is very, very good. Go back and watch my original review of this if you want to hear my thoughts. But yeah, excellent. Artisan Cutlery, Aryan. Moving on here, one that I do not have on me at the moment, but one that is absolutely deserving of a space on this list. Now, I understand that the original design for this came out a long time ago, but this is, a lot of things are different with this 2021 variant. This is the 2021 Adamas from Benchmade, and that's because they released the mini, which I am lumping into this same spot, and then they thinned up a little bit the large size one. We'll have them both on screen. They added crew wear, which was just great. The old ones were D2. This is so good. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Benchmade Adamas, it's the first one that I've mentioned here on the list that I'm telling you guys, it would take so many incredible releases now in the second half of 2021. It would take so many incredible ones to bump it off the list that I'm almost certain that this will make it to best of 2021. American-made knife, expensive, heavy duty, even the small one, heavy duty. Absolutely worth it. I love the Adamas. I love how it looks. You know, maybe I'm a little biased because I've always been tempted to buy it just because of the Adamas is like, you know, Benchmade's flagship heavy hitter, right? Every change that they made was the right change. Making a mini one, home run idea. Slimming up, just a little bit. Slimming up the big guy, great idea. Adding crew wear, that's the cherry on top. Crew, oh my gosh. Yeah. Benchmade Adamas and Mini Adamas, the new ones for 2021, absolutely fantastic. Well deserving of a spot on this list. Moving on here, one that was not, I mean, actually, I think this is, you know, somewhat available. I think you can find these at Fanatic Edge right now. One that I really, really loved and was impressed with because of the build quality and the price. This is the Adam Purvis or A Purvis Blades Xerx Integral or Integral, depending on how you want me to pronounce that. Wow! This is great! So I love the original Xerx, one of my favorite knives, actually. It's on my favorite knives of all time playlist. The Xerx Integral, they add this sort of, I don't know if you don't want to call it, like a harpoon Persian blade, right? I don't know what you want to call that blade. It's got this heavy harpoon notch at the end, right? Same idea as the Xerx, but instead of sandwich or pillar construction on a titanium frame lock, it is one piece of titanium, which is great. That generally costs a lot more money, but the price on these guys was very reasonable considering the materials we're looking at as titanium and M390. They came in quite a few different forms. I wish that they had done like a standard tumbled finish on the blade. I wasn't too excited about the satin finish that they were offering, but I know that they did do kind of a darker, I don't want to call it tumbled, I can't remember what it was, but in any case, this was it's an evolution of a very good design, and the final result was very, very good. And it's one of the least expensive, really well-designed integrals out there. So if you've been on the fence about this, you're not sure, you can go watch my original review, but I can tell you guys right now, I recommend it. It's definitely one of my favorite knives of 2021. I say favorite, by the way, because I don't want to do a scientific breakdown and do this whole dollar for dollar and try and give my opinion on value and utility and, you know, mesh those two things together. Nah, that's real foggy. I'm telling you guys my favorites. They just are my favorites. I handle a lot of knives. Some designs, some models speak to me and some don't, right? It's just cherry on top is, you know, the value and, you know, obviously ergonomic design and aesthetic that all, you know, ergonomic design is one of those things where it's kind of, it's more universal, but aesthetic, that's kind of, you know, person to person, right? Moving on here, what have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, let's do an obvious one. I'm sure you guys are like, when was this one going to be on the list? Bam! The Demko AD 20.5. So this is the current leader for best overall knife of 2021, right? The Adamas will definitely make the list, but if you want me to tell you guys what knife I think is the best release of 2021 all the way around, yeah, it's the AD 20.5. That's so far. I mean, technically something could still come out and beat it out, but guys, it's going to take something really special. Shark Lock, obviously a smaller, thinner, lighter version of its bigger American brother. These are made in Taichung, Taiwan, and are incredibly scarce. I wish I could tell you guys that there is a link right down below where you can absolutely get it right now. I will link listings of it so that you guys can go back and check and sign up for email notifications through those retailers if you want to. But these are just, they're trying to make more. More coming in the future. Some gripes that people had were, of course, Artisan for that much money, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, people are going to say that, right? Small batch, I mean, not small batch, but this is a company that cannot produce knives at the same level as Cold Steel. So just wanting it to be less because it has similar materials to knives produced by other larger companies, right, that yield smaller prices, we can't just do that, right? The Demkos don't have a magic lamp. They can go, Genie, can we just have all of this stuff for less money and make our total costs come down? So they can't do that, right? It's not about greed. It's not about like, oh, look, let's stamp the Demko logo on it and just charge more money. No. I think that they're doing the best that they can. And also, guys, keep in mind that, while this is Grivery and Austin right now for $150-ish, right? I think it's pretty, I'm not going to say it's absolutely certain. I think it's, fairly certain that we will see versions of this knife in different steels, probably for a little bit more money, right? Maybe even a change up of handle materials, right? I don't think it's crazy to assume that some aftermarket companies will be making some scales for these in G10 titanium carbon fiber, right? So we'll be able to see that. You will have to pay to get it done the way that you want. I've taken this apart. It's not that bad other than the spring that goes under the shark lock that can fly across the room if you're not careful with it. But yeah, you guys will probably in the future be able to put together the version of this that you want and get your hands on a little easier. It comes in the shark's foot, my personal favorite, the shark's foot configuration or the clip point configuration. Austin also, let me point out, is not a bad steel. It has performance that is somewhere like if you were to take 440C, VG10, and 154CM, right? Take those, the attributes of those steels, the multi-directional teeter-totter that makes up the composition of those steels, right? We are somewhere in that vicinity. And a lot of people say, well, you're describing a fairly broad vicinity there. Kind of not, right? Your edge retention, I don't think is going to be quite that of 154, more like VG10. I think your toughness is pretty high up there. Corrosion resistance is good, and it's very easy to sharpen. So, is it the best steel in this price range? No, but will it work? I've been using mine, and it's just fine. This thing will still cut. It'll still slice. The edge is fine, right? I've been beating on this thing quite a bit. I wonder if I can give you guys an example of the condition of the edge right now, even with the adhesive on it. And yeah, we got a couple of little spots in there maybe, but yeah, it's doing okay. So, not ultra concerned with the steel on that guy, but the shark lock mechanism, which is incredibly strong, and the overall build and just the ease of manipulation with this guy in general, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, absolutely a contender for best knife overall of 2021 and well deserving of a spot on this list as of right now. Moving on here, one that I was a little uncertain about. This one I could be incorrect about. As far as I can tell, it looks like the release of this, when people could actually get their hands on it, was very early 2021. But again, if I'm wrong, you can tell me. And that's the Vero Engineering Synapse XL. I like all of I've reviewed the Synapse, I've reviewed the Artisan, and I've reviewed the XL. Those are the three Veros that I have reviewed. They're all cool. The XL is far and away my favorite. Something about that build really shined through. The XL one felt much better. The action felt much better. It's as if the design translates. All of the designs are excellent. You can't go wrong with any of the Vero designs. but the design translated better to me as a larger knife. My hands were more comfortable. The deployments, the front flipper seemed to work a little bit better. The action felt a little bit better because the blade was a little longer, right? And on top of that, it had the same, overall level of fit and finish that Vero has been bringing to the table with the other designs. This is so good. I will own this. My dream is that, it's well deserving of a spot as it sits. It's hard to get. I know people are like, why'd you put this on the list? It's so hard to get, right? Yeah, sorry. It's one of my favorites, right? I can't get it right now. My dream is that he will do an integral Synapse XL in full titanium. Oh my God. I will just die for that. Take my money. It's already spent. Take my money. Absolutely. Synapse XL, super duper cool. It also has that cool modern look, right? I don't know what picture I'm showing, but the pocket clip is just beautiful. The lines in general are beautiful. The blade, how they do the fully or nearly fully flat ground blade, I can't remember if it's got a little flat up on top. Just excellent. What an excellent knife. Last, but certainly not least, a knife that is completely and totally unavailable and is never coming back, so it's going to make a lot of people mad that I'm even going to put it on this list. It's also far and away the most expensive, but I did die for this knife. You can go back and watch my unboxing of it. I absolutely freaked out, and that is the Shirogorov and RJM Russian Overkill. Guys, this is this is basically legendary knife maker and manufacturer meets legendary knife maker and designer, and well, they're all, both of them are designer maker, right? Both custom and Shirogorov does the machine element sometimes. What we have is basically a fusion of excellence. Now, this is a titanium frame lock running on roller bearings, which I thought was kind of weird, but the action was, oh boy. This has that, Shirogorov is known for the futuristic and very elegant, very luxury aesthetic. RJ again, also has a very distinct sort of luxury, utilitarian aesthetic. Put those two things together, what do you get? Russian Overkill. This was one, it's one of the only knives that, this is, and by the way, this is M398 steel. That's the new bad boy on the block in the M390 territory. That's also a bowler steel, but if you're wondering, higher potential edge retention than M390. Not quite as tough, not quite as stainless, but higher edge retention, right? Yeah, super cool. Nearly mirror polished edge on this guy. A lot of work went into it. People are going to look the price up on this. You're going to find if you dig deep enough, they originally sold before they even went to retailers, right? Because a lot of retailers bought them directly from Shirogorov, or I believe they came directly initially from Shirogorov. They were limited $1,600, and we see these bumped well above that on the secondary market. I think 23, 24, perhaps higher than that, $100. A lot of retailers actually had them listed at $2,200 to $2,400, if I remember correctly. Yeah, super expensive. Should you pay that much money for this knife? I don't know. This is a collector piece at this point, but it sure was incredible. This is a titanium frame lock with M398, right? But despite it using similar materials to knives that cost substantially less, it's like I always say, it's not the same thing. If you don't value the excess work and time and polish that was put into something like this, then it's not going to be worth it to you. But is this the same thing as, let's say We Knives slapped M398 steel on one of their $200 to $250 frame locks, right? Let's say M398 made it a $350 frame lock, right? Does that mean it's the same thing? No, not even close. This thing is off the charts, crazy polished. I've handled very few things that feel like this, but this was absolutely wonderful. It was actually Scott, my buddy Scott, who sent this in for me to take a look at. And as of right now, it is on the list. This is one of those that could easily get bumped off because it is never going to be obtainable again, and it's so super duper expensive, right? But as of right now, I can't not put it on the list, so it is what it is. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it for today's video. Like I said, Part of the reason I do this is, number one, to let you guys know where I'm at for the year on knives. But it's also because I know, even though I'm uploading 2 videos a day, right? Handling tons and tons and tons of knives, I know that there's stuff out there that I have not handled yet, some hidden treasures, right? And I want people, you know, who sat and watched the whole video, I want you guys to go, why didn't you take a look at this? You haven't taken a look at this. I bet this would bump. Yeah, I want to know that stuff, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm going to review every single knife that you guys suggest, but I always look at stuff. So if there's something down there, you know, and if there's something down there in the comments section that I think is interesting, then I'll do my best to try and get my hands on one. But also you should go and check out, once again, that Wanted for Review July of 2021 listing on my community tab on my YouTube channel. So you can check out the knives that I'm interested in taking a look at. Loaners, of course, do go back to the owners. I don't keep them. But anyways, guys, this was fun to do. I hope it was at least mildly entertaining. I know I probably got at least one of these wrong as far as the release date goes, and that's fine. You guys do a good job of correcting me. In any case, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.